All right, everyone, welcome back to our second episode of Sembang Santai Marketing with Mr. Alex here. Hi, Mr. Alex, how are you doing today?
Hello, thank you for having me, Ravin. Good to see all of you here.
All right, everyone. So today we're going to talk about setting up profitable FB ad campaigns. I'm pretty sure a lot of you here are not very familiar with Facebook ad campaigns. Not gonna lie, me as a digital marketer myself, I'm not aware of what are the things that you should do and what you should not do in Facebook ad, and it's how to set up a campaign and all that. So, Alex, would you like to briefly explain on what actually is FB ads?
Okay, that's a good question. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in, and I want to thank you, Ravin, for taking this time to organize this event with Excel Academy. It's my honor here to share all my learning and knowledge as much as I can for all of you during this 1 hour. So the first question is the Facebook ads, right? Sorry, Ravin, can you repeat the questions again?
All right, Mr. Alex. So Facebook ads is pretty, it's kind of new to everyone out here today, right? I mean, like most of our viewers here today. So, would you like to briefly explain on how Facebook ads work and what Facebook ads actually do to help your company?
Oh, okay. Now, Facebook ads is one of the simplest way to get started. All right. So if you browse Facebook or when you look at there's a lot of workshop or training talks about teaching you how to get started with Facebook, but you don't really see that on Google Ads, right? Most people teaches Facebook ads. They don't really teach Google Ads, and one of the reasons is because Facebook ads is very easy to kickstart, right? So you don't have to have a website in place. You can use everything that Facebook built for you to run an ads campaign. Number one. Number two, Facebook ads it's relatively lower cost, right? Now, of course, it's different than 10 years ago, right? 10 years, 5 years ago, when you run ads is quite cheap. Nowadays, because of the dynamic changes and a lot of people jumping into Facebook ads, you will see the slight increase on the Facebook ads cost, right? But however, compared to the traditional media like print, video, talk show, billboard banner, it is still considered very, very cheap and affordable. You can start with 5 ringgit a day. You can just test things out, right? So the third thing that Facebook ads can help you with is to test the market pretty quickly. Why would I say so? For example, let's say you don't want to do a billboard. You decide the design. Okay, this is how the design is going to be like, and then you launch this billboard or you launch this in the TV. 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Then you realize, oh, there's something wrong on this picture. Oh, there's something wrong in this wording. Do you think you can change? Cannot really, because too late. And you take very long time to prepare the whole thing. But Facebook is different. You can test 5 ringgit a day. Number one, you can test and see how is the response of the target market towards your ads, towards your offer. If it works, great, you can scale. If it doesn't work, you can tweak very quickly. You can test very fast. Okay, you can change things very fast. There's an error here, you can change, right? Then you want to add something, you can change immediately, and they just publish and just change. So this is something very good on Facebook that we can leverage on.
All right. So, okay, Mr. Alex. So, speaking of Facebook ads, right? For someone who has like a new business, like a startup business, right? So, would you recommend these new businesses to dive into Facebook ads immediately, or would you want them to do their advertising more organically first?
Okay, very good questions. So if I were to be a startup, there's two way I would suggest you. The first way is to use your personal profile as a way to build your brand, right? Without running ads. So that one is organic way. Depending on the niche, on the product services that you provide. Some people are not very comfortable promoting their product or programs or services to their circle warm market. right? Some people are very good in penetrating the cold market instead of the warm market. So those for people who want to reach out to cold market, or let's say your Facebook friends is not your target market, then running an ads is a better alternative. You don't have to have a big budget to run ads. Okay, so two ways works. Organic way is focused on building brands and positioning for all your warm market. That's the organic way. The paid way is to test the market quickly, and I would suggest you to do that as a startup. And why? Because you want to, if let's say your idea of selling something is new, you can use this opportunity to test the market and see the response they get from you. Yeah. And number two is just to get your feet right wet and make your hands dirty and just do the work. Yeah. So this is what I would suggest you to do. Right?
All right, so Mr. Alex, uh, for Facebook ads, right? Okay, let's say since we spoke about companies that are just starting off, using social media and all that. So what about companies that are actually, there in the market for a few years already, and they have already established a name for themselves? So they are deciding to use Facebook ads. What are the do's and don'ts that you would recommend to these companies for them if if they want to use Facebook ads?
You're talking about company who have some brand presence online, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, just let me adjust. Okay, so if let's say there's a brand have a pretty big brand presence online or offline, Facebook ads is still one of the best way to create awareness, build engagement and relationship with the audience. So one of the way to do it is to what you call come up with different video campaign series or sequence campaign to connect with the audience because people already know you. You don't have to like being very push in terms of selling a products or services. What you can do instead that is to focus a little bit more on doing the what do you call the engagement types of campaign, right? Talking about the company, the services, or the latest product launch. Yeah. So if you were to ask me, a company who have established your brands, you can run multiple types of campaign to cover to maximize your marketing strategy. So for example, the first one, you can run an awareness campaign on a video, right? Video view engagement campaign uh, to reach out to as many people to watch the video. Say the video is about the behind the scene on how this company make this product. Okay. Then the second thing I can write on the post engagement. So you post a carousel and an album to share with people a little bit about your services, your product, you educate. And then lastly, then you can launch an offer, right, to connect with this audience to get these people who watch or engage with the post previously with the video or with the post to retarget these people to get to you your offer, your latest offer can be product or services. Yeah. So this is what I would suggest you if let's say you have a lot of people knows you already. You can run multiple campaigns to sort of like build engagement, relationship, and leads at the same time.
All right. Okay, for those of you who just joined us, welcome back to our second episode of Sembang Santai Marketing. Today we're speaking about setting up profitable FB ad campaigns. So if you do have any questions for Mr. Alex here today, please do not feel shy to drop it in the comment section and we will get back to your questions later before the session ends. So, Mr. Alex, since we're still speaking about companies who have already established their names and they are planning to run FB ads. As we know, FB ads is something that is always up to date, right? If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. The Facebook ad algorithm changes every day, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you or what would you recommend to people who want to use FB ads to stay updated to the updates that Facebook ads are giving out on a daily basis?
Okay. Thank you for the questions. You see, in digital marketing line, it's not just Facebook. Even in Google, they change. algorithm, right? The Panda updates, and then different TikTok, Instagram, they all will release new features, try things out, test things out. Then they will add new features they will take out, right? So for example, like Facebook, last time you have this thing called Watch Party, right? Watch Party. I'm not sure if you heard of that, Ravin. You know
Um,
Watch Party? Not familiar.
not
Okay,
familiar,
where
but I think I've heard of it before.
yeah, it's like a feature where you can invite your friends watch the video together, something like that. But other than that, no more already. Okay. Then they also test things like last time your cover Facebook page photo, you can change to video, right?
Yep.
About up to 90 seconds, but now no more already, take away. So they also test things out. And I would always encourage people don't have to panic, because when they change something, it's meant for good of the audience like you and I. So it's not to hurt your campaign, and you won't see a lot of big impact when it comes to the when you run a campaign. It's not like iOS changes, privacy, the one is the other story, right? Usually the updates or algorithm is to create a better experience for both you and I and for business owner. One thing very important here is the fundamental. If you know the fundamental, the customer journey, the the fundamental of how do you monitor, optimize the campaign, then whatever changes comes in, just a little bit of tweak only. So don't have to be worried too much when there's updates of the algorithm. However, if you always want to make yourself available for the updates, you want to catch the latest updates, then I will suggest you to create a Google alert, right? Just go to Google alert and just type, just put in the keyword Facebook latest updates. Whenever you get someone report or announce Facebook updates, then you will receive notification. This is one way to keep yourself updated if you would like to. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. Alex, if if let's say I'm an owner of a company and I want
Yeah.
to set up ads, I do have the budget. I do have a lot of budget to set up FB ads campaign, and I'm not worried about the budget. But at the same time, I want to set up a budget that it doesn't drain my resources, it doesn't drain my budget. So what do I have to do to in order for my ads to be precise and accurate?
Okay. Okay. So assume, let's say, everyone will say they have limited budget on. Okay,
Yep.
that's that's normal, because we have limited resources and we need to maximize leverage on it more effectively when we want to run ads like this. There are a few things to keep in mind if you want to launch a profitable campaign without actually burn the bank account. The first one is the copywriting. Right? So copywriting is one of the key skills that I believe every business owner should learn, right? Because nowadays we write, we type more than we actually speak on the phone. Okay, it's not like last time you catch up with people, you talk face to face like this. Nowadays, a lot of conversion, FAQ interaction is using what? Facebook, comment, WhatsApp, right? So it's how we structure the sentence in write in such a way that create a better engagement. Same thing, the way you write your caption, right, is going to decide whether people want to continue to read your post or want to click on your ads or not. So this is very important, the first one. The second one is the creative, which is the image or a video. If you ask me, image has its own strength. Video has its own strength too, right? So a lot of people say, "Oh, video is the future. Video is the future." Well, if you ask me, it depends on what kind of video are you talking about, right? Not just if you put up a 2-3 minutes corporate video, do you think it's going to bring a lot of engagement? I don't think so. So what kind of video is the one that creates engagement nowadays? Answer
Mm,
is TikTok, Instagram
yeah.
Reels, type of short form video, right? So when it comes to video, it has to, what do you call, there's a deeper details that we need to consider. Are you going to post a 10 minutes video? 3 minutes video, 1 minute video. So for Facebook ads, usually we talk about between 1 to 3 minutes. That's the max for running an ads campaign, right? We try not to keep it too long. Usually I use 1 to 2 minutes only for better results. No one will actually watch the ads video for very, very long unless it's very value added and it's very engaging. Okay. Now, third, so it talks about the copywriting, we talks about creative assets. Third one is the targeting audience. So the demographics, psychographics, what's their interest, who they are, what language do they speak. This is also very important, right? The location, this is straightforward. The next one is the budget. Some people will say that when I launch a campaign, doesn't work, so I stop. And you will see sometimes it's not the caption, the copywriting is okay, the graphic is okay, targeting didn't run very far, but not much results. It could be because of the budget that you add in. You see, every day it's not just one person running ads. There's thousands of people running ads, right? In many, many places. So in a way, we are actually competing with each other for the same group of interest. If your budget is too low, it's very hard for Facebook to do two things. Number one, optimize your ads because data is limited. When you spend more, Facebook are able to reach out to more people to sort of like optimize the audience for your ads. Okay. So number two, very little budget is going to burn out very fast. And let's say your competitor have bigger budget than you, then they will definitely have advantage over you. Okay. So sometimes the budget has to adjust a little bit. And last but not least, if nothing else works, it's always come down to your offer. No matter how good is your copywriting, how accurate you do the targeting, how good is your technical skill to optimize the campaign, you can improve a little bit only if your offer is not good, right? So in rule of thumb is if your offer that is not good, whatever you do doesn't really matter because it can't really convert. So offer is something that we need to also think about. We have to create an irresistible offer. Offer that will make people stop scrolling. They will click on it and say, yes, I want this. Or at least, yes, I'm interested to know more. So these are the keys when it comes to launching a profitable Facebook campaign.
All right, so Mr. Alex, we spoke about how we can create profitable ad campaigns and all that, but there's one thing that I think the viewers should know is also what are the common mistakes that people do when they set up ad campaigns. So based on your experience, I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of FB ad campaigns that has errors or mistakes in it. So what are the common ones that you usually see?
Oh, okay. This very interesting. Um, in my experience, there are few very common ones. The first one is the you are cramping up the write up. Right? You're not using the paragraph. Right? When you write, you cram everything together, and you're not using emoji. You're not using bullet points to make it more organized for people to read through. Right? So this is one of the common mistake people do. Some people will say, I want my brand to be very professional. I don't want all this emoji here and there. Now, it's a balance of it's a balance that we need to catch. So can you imagine if you read a captions of a post with no emoji inside? I don't think people will finish read the entire thing, right? Unless it's a very good writer, right? So we will need to use emoji to actually enhance the message and of the expression that we are trying to bring out to the marketplace. Facebook is not a very serious platform. It's supposed to be a fun, engaging platform for most of us, right? So when we go to Facebook, it's to distress. It's not to add on stress to be more very serious, like a media official release kind of statement. It doesn't work like that. So we have to understand the characteristic and the culture of the platform itself. So cramping up all the write up without actually putting in the without organizing it properly, like using bullet points, paragraphs is one of them. Right? So the second one is the emoji, which I shared with you just now. And then the third one is the budget. Yeah. So related to the previous questions, if you some people may have the idea of, oh, doesn't work, must be not effective Facebook. So sometimes because of the budget is too low, it's very hard for Facebook to optimize. Yeah. And then the next one is the patience. 1, 2 days, nothing happened, they stop entirely. So my advice is, if it doesn't work, you don't stop. You don't judge. We don't just say that, oh, it doesn't work. However, we should question, okay, what can I optimize? Because marketing is about testing. It's like a science. So we have to test everything from your headline, the offer, the creative, the what do you call the angle. So constant new things that need to test is required. So this is some of the common mistake that I see people do, and what do you call the complaints people will always share with me. So I hope through this 1 hour talk can help you lift up some of the challenges and overcome some of the issues that you may have. Mm.
Okay, so Mr. Alex, okay, since Facebook has acquired, Instagram as well, so if I were to create an ad, so let's say, for example, for on Facebook, can I share that particular ad to Facebook? I mean, to Instagram. Is it a cross-platform thing or is it just a single platform thing?
Okay. Um, you can launch a Instagram ads inside Facebook Ads Manager. Okay, so the simple answer, the simple answer is yes. You can launch your campaign to Instagram stories, to Instagram feeds, no problem. However, you cannot boost your Instagram post directly from Facebook Ads Manager. You can only boost your newsfeed post, your own Instagram newsfeed post from your phone. Right? Instagram itself is a native mobile app. So there's only some of the things that you can do inside Instagram itself. Okay. But most of the things that can bring you results, you can do it directly using Facebook ads, which will launch the campaign straight to Instagram. No problem. Mm.
All right. Okay,
You
so
got what I mean? I'm not sure if it's confusing, but if you can ask me again, if let's say not sure.
I mean, technically, I do get an idea of what you're saying,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I think digital marketing and marketing itself, like you said before, it's like a science experiment. Am I right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always about trial and error and all that.
Correct. Correct.
So okay, Mr. Alex. So speaking of FB ads being a cross platform thing, what
Mm.
are the other apps that FB ad can use to manage its campaign apart from Instagram, of course?
What are the what?
Okay, so for example, FB manages Instagram as well, right? So what
Mm.
are the other things Facebook Ad Manager or other applications you can use Facebook ads to advertise your marketing campaign?
Oh, there are few platforms out there to actually help you streamline some of the ads campaign. There's one called Ad Espresso. You can find on Google. It's called Type Ad. Espresso is the espresso lah. The
Mhm.
latte espresso, the espresso. So it is a platform that can help you to do a lot of testing dashboard by itself when you launch a Facebook ads campaign. So instead of using Facebook ads campaign, ads manager, you can use their platform, their dashboard to launch a campaign from there. Okay, so this is one of the platform that you can check them out. It's pretty good, pretty awesome. They can do things that Facebook Ads Manager may not be able to do. For example, they can test more than 5 headlines, right? They will tell you what kind of headline of description works best, right? So they have analytics that can provide you some guideline to enhance your experience when it comes to launching ads campaign. I think there's another one. I think from Maxis as well. They have a platform where you can actually launch a campaign directly from the dashboard instead of go to Facebook Ads Manager. Yeah. So these are the few that I encounter. Though I rarely use that, but no harm, try.
Right. So, Mr. Alex, let's talk about targeting the right audience, because I think when it comes to FB ad campaigns, it's the most important. One of the most important aspects of getting a profitable FB ad campaign is targeting the right audience. So,
Yes.
what are the type of audience, or what are the kind of targeting that you can do using FB ad campaign?
Okay. Thank you, Ravin. Yes, you are right. Targeting is critical. Yeah. So I have few usually I have separate into few categories for my students when I attend classes on choosing the targeting. So the first one is very straightforward, the interest part. You just type in the keywords. Say you are selling skincare products. You just type skincare. And then when you click on the suggestions of Facebook, they are going to come out with a list of skincare related interests for you to choose. Organic skincare, natural skin, organic health product, healthy living, right? So these are the interests that is related to what you are looking for. So these are generic terms of interest, right? So the first one, this is the first one. The second one, you can think about the brand, famous brand related to skincare. So who or which are the market out there is very famous when it comes to skincare? So L'Occitane, body wash, right? So these are some of the famous brands that you can try out in the Google ads, but Facebook ads, and see it comes up or not. Most of the famous brand it will come up. If it's sometimes that when you try to put it in, it doesn't come up. So if it doesn't come out, it's okay, no problem. You just put in whatever that comes to your mind, right? Or you can just go to Google and search top 10 skincare brand in the world. In Malaysia also can. Then you use the top 10 list, right? And then you put inside. See what comes out, what didn't come out. Okay. The third one is the ambassador of celebrity. So let me give you an example. Last time when I run a lot of business workshop or investment workshop program for different speaker, one of the things that we add in for the keywords is the celebrity or ambassador. Example, who are the famous people when it comes to running business or self-development? Robert Kiyosaki, okay, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy. So these are the famous celebrity or ambassador when it comes to inspiration, business, self-development. Right? So celebrity ambassador. Okay. The fourth one is the books, magazine, or newspaper. So using the same concept, like just now, let's say investment. Let's say we want to organize investments, wealth types of seminars, workshop. Then we can think about books, Think and Grow Rich, right? Or the author Napoleon Hill, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So if you're selling property, what else? iProperty, the Age newspaper, right? Okay. And then the fifth one is the media, newspaper. Just type in the newspaper related to your niche market. Okay. The last bonus tip is if you have enough budget, say 150 to 200 per day of budget to spend for your ads, you don't need to set any targeting. The algorithm and the machine learning is so advanced in such a way that they will help you automatically find the target audience. Okay. So if you have very little budget, you can also try, no problem, right? It's so about testing. You can try, may not get a good result, right? Depending on the products, this is just general guideline only because it has to depend a lot of factors, including the nature of your product and the services. But let's say, generally speaking, 100 to 200 per day, you can actually run an ads without setting any targeting. You can set male, female, set the language speaking, age, right? But the interest, you leave it blank. So Facebook will help you to optimize also. So I hope this gives you some insights and idea on how to do better targeting.
All right, so Mr. Alex, so since we are still on the topic of targeting and all that, right? So in my understanding, I think when you narrow down your target market, your ad becomes more expensive. Correct me if I'm wrong. So when narrowing the targeting down to really small, is it fair to say that narrower audiences cost more?
If your audience is very small, like 30,000, 50,000, one of the reason why you will have the issue of the cost going up is because um, the same group of people are looking at the same ads for too many times. So we are restricting Facebook to just serve the ads to this group of people. So what happened is the group of people is going to watch and look at the ads over and over and over again. How do you know that? It's called a frequency matrix. So frequency is a matrix that measures the numbers of time the group of users or the people looking at your ads. Right? So let's say your frequency 1.0 means one time, 1.5 means 1 to 2 times. So let's say your ads frequency is 3 times, 4.0, 5.0 means they are looking at the same thing. So they can't go out, can't expand. So that's where the cost will go up. And that's one of the reasons. So answer is a short answer is yes, don't narrow too much so that you can allow Facebook to have more audience to reach out to and to optimize. Mm.
Okay, so Mr. Alex, let's talk about testing out our advertisements because I think before we send out any advertisements and all, it's very important for us to test out the thing. Am I right? Because you don't want to waste unnecessary amount of your budget on just simply targeting people and all that. So, what are the ways you can actually test your advertisements before actually sending it out or publishing it?
How that means how do you test the advertisement before publishing it?
Okay, maybe my question is wrong. So, how do we? Okay, like since we're still talking about targeting and all that, right? So, how do we run a few tests to see which audience we should actually target to?
Oh, okay. You don't. We don't. The first thing that we do is we don't just run one campaign, one copy, one creative, one audience. What you want to do is you still need to run ads, but at the lower amount of the budget. Okay. So for example, you run 3 to 4 types of audience with the same amount, say 10 ringgit, 15 ringgit per day to see which one works better. Right. So and then the copywriting, don't just use one copywriting. You want to have, usually what I do is I use 3 to 5 different sets of copywriting. Images, sometimes I use up to 10, 7, 5 is a minimum to test which is better for you. So Facebook is very advanced nowadays. You can actually put a lot of things to for it to optimize, where you can then see which one works better. Yeah. So my suggestion is don't test one by one by one. You test few things together first, then you narrow down. This is a better way to do it. Mm.
Okay, so Mr. Alex, when it comes to Facebook ads, right? For example, I'm planning to do, a new ad for my company which is just starting to build and all that. So is it important, sometimes when we talk about less is more, does this apply into FB ads as well, or do we need to, uh, you know, come up with a bigger variety of ads when we run a campaign?
Um, Less is more is a very generic idea. So we have to think about in what context, right? So if it's a image, less is more is true because you don't want to have a lot of words, right? You have a lot of wording inside an image. An image is supposed to be engaging, so less is more. A picture paints 1,000 words. But when it comes to testing, you I would say you will want to have enough variables for you to test to make sure to come up with a winner to see which one works better. Okay, so it depends on the context and also which part of the structure are we talking about. So that's what my suggestions. Is
So
that
okay,
okay?
I mean, I do get the rough idea of
Yeah,
it, Mr.
yeah.
Alex,
Okay,
but
okay.
just to point it out again, like you
Mm,
said, marketing is something like a science experiment. You just have to
mm,
try and
mm.
all that, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go into our Q&A session, I've got one last question for Mr. Alex. Mr. Alex, so what are the kind of ads that is very, very common in Facebook? Because I see a lot of, sometimes, like you said, videos. Like before I tune into one of my favorite pages video or something, you can see pop-up ads before the initial video of that I selected plays. So for example, videos from McDonald's and all that. So those
Yeah.
are just one of the kind of Facebook ads, right? So what are the other kinds of Facebook ads that is very, very common nowadays?
Okay. Let's say if you are talking about trend, there are few. The first one is the album push post ads. So, for example, you put a series of a education content in the album, then you actually boost it. So the album itself contain maybe 10, 20 different images. So it's a series of a product description or educational types of content that which leads to promotion. So that's one of the common one that a lot of people are using. Then the most common one is still the image because it's very easy to produce compared to video. Video takes a bit more time to work on it, right? You need to shoot, you need to research, you need to edit, a lot of work. Most people prefers image. And so what I would suggest you, image is okay, you can still try. The other common one is you try to make the image animate. You animate the entire image. So you can use Canva to do that, where they have a features to animate the entire image, and the image now becomes a video. So when you animate, fade in, fade out, zoom in, zoom out, these elements comes in, right? For a picture, it becomes a video. So you use that as a short video to promote. So this is one of the common way people use it too. Yeah. So this is some of the things that you can do to help improve your campaign.
All right. Just another last question, Mr. Alex. So I know there's a lot of metrics that can be used uh, to measure how good your Facebook ads run throughout a period of time and all that. So what are the most important metrics, or which performance metrics matter the most when it comes to Facebook ads, in your opinion?
Okay. So say if we want to prioritize the metrics, right? We have to understand or to set the purpose and objective first. So what is the goal of this campaign? Is it brand awareness? Is it sales? Or is it download? Or is it leads, numbers of leads? So based on the objectives, then you can prioritize which metrics we should go into and study and to monitor. Say, for example, my goal is to have as many people, to reach out to as many people as possible to know my brand. It's called brand awareness. So when brand awareness becomes your objective, then the key metric should be how many people can you reach? What is the average cost per reach, right? Or we call it 1,000 impression, the CPM. This one, you will know that, oh, I actually spend how much to get to this much of reach. So if I can bring down the cost to get same amount of reach, then I'm successful already. Now, second scenario is I not reach is not my purpose. My goal is to generate leads. So when it comes to leads, then reach is not the most important metrics anymore. You will look at the total numbers of leads you generated with this amount of money. So for example, you spend 1,000, you generated 100 leads. So you will then to decide whether what you want to do, because now the cost per lead is 10 ringgit. So this is going to be your metrics, how much you spend how many leads you generated, and what is the average cost per lead. Right? Then you decide whether this lead is expensive or cheap. Then we look at the sales. How many sales you generated from here, right? So reach, frequency, cost per thousand impression is the secondary part already. So this is how you justify. Number one, set the objective. What's the goal? Then second is to prioritize the metrics. Then third, you interpret the metrics into useful information. Then fourth is to optimize a campaign based on the insights that you have, which is the recommendation, the action that you want to do. So this is how we do.
All right. So, Mr. Alex, we've come to the most important part of our Sembang Santai session, which is
Okay.
actually answering questions from our audience here today. So, let me start with our first
Okay.
question of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, before I start, there are, we still have time. So, if you do have any questions for Mr. Alex in terms of FB ad campaigns or any questions related to FB ads, do drop in the comment below. Okay, so Mr. Alex, let's start with our first question. So, Mr. Anik here has asked us a question. For FB ads, how do I set the target audience, especially for marketing structures? Is that based on time?
How do I set the target audience, especially marketing structure? Is it based on time? No, time is not the issue. How do I set the target audience? Yeah, so I think I briefly covered just now the general interest, speaker, ambassador, celebrities, competitors, brand, right? And what else? What did I say just now? News media, okay, and then magazine, books, newspaper. So you use these categories to help you to find out and fine tune your audience. Okay, yeah. So it's not based on time. Time, if you run per day campaign, 10 ringgit per day, 20 ringgit per day, it's going to run for 24 hours. Yeah.
All right. So, let's move on to the next question, Mr. Alex. So, Elena Jaffrey here has asked us, Hi, good afternoon. I'm interested to know how to exclude foreigner from our ads, only focusing on Malaysians.
Elena, you asked a very good question because it's a very common questions out there. It's not you have this issue. We all have that issue. So how do you target focus on Malaysian instead of foreigner? One thing you can do is you exclude their favorite movie shows, TV channels, and newspaper. Okay. But let's say you are talking, okay, I want to exclude people from Indonesia. They are not my target audience. So what can I do? What you can do, and you don't watch Indonesian news, right? We don't know. So how can we find out is you can what there's two ways I'm going to share it with you. The first way is you just type Indonesian, then there's a list of things will come out based on Facebook suggestions when you click on the exclude interest. So they will say Indonesian Idol, Indonesian talk show, Indonesian rupiah, Indonesia capital city example. So you choose the one that's more related for the market. Example, Indonesian Idol. So the whole Indonesian maybe like it's very famous show. You can use that. Then you can do one by one, one by one. The second way is exclude the media. So what can you do? You go to Google, do the same thing. Just type top 10 news media channel in Indonesia. Top 10 news media channel in Indonesia. So they will get a list of news media channel from Google. Then you are going to put that media channel interest as an interest, put inside Facebook interest and see whether it comes or not. Some is in the list, some is not. So those is in the list, then you can exclude. You cannot eliminate. We can minimize only. All right. So I hope this gives you some insights of how to exclude more foreigners from your ads.
All right, Mr. Alex. So, moving on to our next question. Miss Marnie asks here, what is the recommended amount of budget for FB ads for startup company?
Okay. Um,
It's very
I
subjective, right?
sorry.
It's very subjective, right, Mr. Alex?
Yes, it's subjective questions. But if you were to ask me, let's say I assume you have limited budget, right? But let's say you have a lot of budget, then of course the more the better. That's the answer. However, let's say if we assume that all of us has limited resources that we start, I would suggest you to start 20, right? 10 to 30 is the range I would give. 10 to 30. Then per day, per day. So you run for 2-3 days, 1 week, you see the results. If it's good, you can scale 50 per day because it's bringing you result. If it's not doing well, you can reduce a little bit or you can stop. You change something, then you continue, right? So you can try, maybe say 30, oh, doesn't work. Then you want to slow down a little bit. You want to try something else, then you can reduce to 20 or 10 like that. Don't try. I think the lowest amount is 4 ringgit 21 cent. But try not to do that because it's going to limit your reach a lot, and it's very hard for Facebook to optimize and produce good result for you. So between 10 to 30 is a good range. Then you can test out which one is comfortable for you.
All right. So moving
Right.
on to our next question. Today we have quite a number of questions. I think a lot of us here are pretty unclear on what FB ads is, right? I think, to be
Okay.
honest, Mr. Alex, so it is kind of new, right? FB ads and everything.
Sorry, do you mean
FB,
this?
I mean, the
Uh,
feature of FB ads is pretty new, right?
it's I would say it's always change, and it can be quite technical for people who may not be so savvy or doesn't have a lot of experience when it comes to using the dashboard itself. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to our next question, Mr. Alex. Herbitech Sales here has come up with a question. Is there any difference in cost when we post a single picture and a post of two or more pictures at once? By using post engagement, can we generate leads? How to avoid getting poor leads when we promote our ads using the leads section? Okay, that's more than one question actually. So,
Yeah. So okay, these are good questions. These are good questions. So is there any difference in cost when we post a single picture or two or more picture? Answer is no. Facebook don't charge you how many pictures you have or how many videos you have because they charge per 1,000 impression. They don't charge quantity. Okay, 1,000 impression means they are going to show your ads to 1,000 people. Yeah, so it's called impression. Then for every 1,000 impression, they are going to charge us X amount. So there's no difference. Okay, by using post engagement, can we generate leads? Answer is yes. However, right, that's back end one. However, the criteria is it depends on what kind of products are you trying to sell. If you want to ask people to come for an event, let's say you having a conference or party, a talk, webinar, it's not so easy, right? However, if you running post engagement, selling cheesecake, selling durian, selling very nice drinks, then you will get more inquiries. So what I want to say here is post engagement can generate leads. Generate leads can be PM, can be comment, right? So answer is general speaking is yes. However, you have to test to see whether your niche of your product is suitable for this type of campaign format or not. Some campaign format works better when you use WhatsApp, for example. That means link to WhatsApp. Some works better when they use conversion objective. Some works better when they use messenger or lead generation. Okay. How to avoid getting poor leads when we promote our ads using the leads sections? Okay. Poor leads, I assume not responsive, or people who just say they are interested, but then they don't really care, right? It's very common. It's very common. It's not just you. And in fact, a lot of people have this experience. And one of the reason is not their fault, by the way. Why? Because they see your ads when they're scrolling. So the pace is very fast. They just submit the form, then they just continue to scroll. So few seconds later, they just forget what they do. It's very common. If you want to, you can minimize. You can minimize. If you want to minimize the leads, I would suggest Number one, you have a very strong follow-up system. For example, can you have a chatbot, right, that can respond to them immediately, almost immediately? Or can your team follow up within X numbers of hours, within 4 hours, 2 hours, the moment you register? This is to create the hotness, right? So let's say you say, oh, usually my lead time, response time is 1 day later. So 1 day later, a lot of things happens already. Then the leads start to cool down, and then those leads becomes not responsive. Right? So you automate or you fasten the process of doing the follow-up. So that's one way to do it. Number two is the poor leads can also means wrong audience, right? They just want to take advantage of maybe the free stuff or whatever, is to do a proper what do you call the caption that you write, and the form, the preview questions that you ask is also very important. Right? So you, number one, when you write captions, right, you set the expectation who you are looking for. Number two is the questions before they fill up. You can tell them, are you these types of people? All right, pre-qualified. Okay. Number three, you can run a conversational lead gen ad to filter these people, whether to tell them whether are they poor or higher quality for you. So Facebook has this, you can explore her big tech sales. You can go to explore under lead generation campaign. There's this thing called conversational leads format. It's like MCQ. Hi, are you ready to get started? You can choose yes or no. If you click no, then the whole thing is going to stop there. You click yes, then you can come up, then you can set the questions. Thank you for your interest. May I know what issue do you have? 1, 2, 3. So he choose 3, then pop out again. Right, great. We have a solution just for this particular problem 3. So can I have your name? Pop up. Email? Pop up. Phone number? Pop up. And last one, what's the best time to call you, for example? Then they can just type. So this one create micro interactions and commitment for these people. So when that happens, people can remember you better, and they will put more effort, right? When they put more effort means they are more serious. So this is how you can do it to minimize the politics. Oh, this one a bit long, the answer, but I hope I can give you detailed explanation for you to try out. Okay?
All right. So moving on to our next question, Mr. Alex. Miss Noshafika here has asked us, how can businesses penetrate international market? I'm assuming she's asking that using Facebook ads. So how do we
Okay.
do that, Mr. Alex?
Yeah. The question itself is very broad. There's a lot of ways to do that. Yeah, let's go back to the context of Facebook ads. You can target international market directly from your home, right? However, I will suggest you to test the market first. If you want to penetrate international market, you have to understand the law that they have, the policy, all the things that they have. This is a must, right? We have to understand what is the requirement for me to promote my products and services over there. So I'll assume that taken care of. So my suggestions to you is you can run a very low cost Facebook ad to try out, right? Not to sell things, but to do engagement. Okay, to look at the response of the market. Number one. Number two, give away something that's valuable, that has very low cost or even free, and see how many people are actually signing up for this. Show their interest. Okay, then only you test out on the offer and see whether it resonates with the audience or not. Yeah, so this is the steps that I would suggest you to test it out. Yeah.
All right. So our last question for today, Mr. Alex, is also from
Okay.
Miss Shafika herself.
Boleh.
In your opinion, which is profitable, hiring celebrities as ambassador or starting an FB ad campaign?
Okay, Shafika, there's a good question. Hiring celebrities, ambassador, we call it, some people, we call it influencer marketing. Same thing. What you want to set is the objective first. Do you want to generate more inquiries, leads, straight profits to your business, or you just want to get a lot of people to know and like this brand. So if yours is just only brand, okay, then influencer marketing, hiring celebrities or ambassador can work, right? So Facebook ads campaign is to help you to reach your objective, specific objective fast. So let's say you want to generate sales, instant leads, then you can use Facebook ads campaign. Now, of course, also depending on the budget. Some people, they don't have the budget to get influencer marketing to do, so they start with Facebook ads campaign. Now, having said that, if let's say you want to use ambassador celebrity to help you generate leads, then you can do some giveaway contest, or you can you must have a what we call a sales funnel. Let's say you ask the ambassador to promote your product, but is there what's the call to actions? Do you want to ask them to click on the link, claim the product, claim sample, or claim to enter to win a lucky draw prize? If that's the case, then yes, you would also generate a lot of different leads. Okay, so rule of thumb, these are the two major difference. Usually, hiring celebrities ambassador is more for awareness and build the know like trust. Unless they are your affiliate, they are your reseller. That's different story. Okay, then Facebook campaign is more straightforward on generating leads, downloads, things like that.
All right. So, Mr. Alex, I think that's about it for our questions here today. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here for our second episode of Sembang Santai. But do not forget, do stay tuned for our next episode. Our next episode will be about creating highly converting landing pages. I don't think you want to
Oh,
miss
that's
out.
our next topic. Yeah.
Yes, that's our next topic. And also, if you do decide you want to take a training on digital marketing or something like that, you want to know more about digital marketing and the trends that happen around it and everything, do join our executive certification of digital marketing. Okay, so it's a 16-week course, and it has 8 intensive modules in it. So if you do want to know more, click on the link below in the comment section, or you can contact us in the CTA down below. You can see our phone number there and our email there. So do not miss out on this amazing opportunity to keep up to date with all the digital marketing trends right now. Okay, so thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining our episode here today with Mr. Alex. So, Mr. Alex, any advice for our viewers here today before we end our session here?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for spending this 1 hour. I know this time is very valuable to you, and I hope this 1 hour can give you a very good insight and idea concept for you to test things out. And I hope to see you in the near future whenever Excel Academy have classes. So sometimes, so a lot of times we work very closely together on running classes. So I hope with that more time, I can give you even more strategies and concepts to help you to bring your business and marketing to the whole new level. Thank
All
you,
right.
Ravin, for your time too.
No problem, no problem. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Mr. Alex. It was a very, very fruitful session because certain things I myself I do not know about FB ads. So today was very, very fruitful. So I hope it was fruitful for our audience as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. So see you soon in our next episode. Till then, take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.